Yep. It's like so many calls. All right, guys, we're live on Facebook. Um, what, what, what are we here for? We are Athlete 2.0. Marcos, what is Athlete 2.0? What is this community all about?
Education, accountability, resources, and more. I'm just kidding.
I love it. Keeping it light. Keeping it
No,
light.
that's on the banner. I'm just fucking around. Um, no, I mean, the community is here to really establish like-minded individuals pursuing fitness and health endeavors, but obviously dealing with the confines of a busy life. So, obviously, today embarks, what is this, our third call within this group?
Yeah.
So super excited about just sharing thoughts, ideas, principles, and some coaching elements to help people get after it. And as of today, we're at 50 members in the group, which is pretty wild to think about. So
Yeah.
thank you all that have joined, that are watching this on replay or watching it live. I need to double check what that looks like on the live
I
feed.
got it. I see it right here. We got one member, two people watching. Hey guys, do me a favor. Tag some of the folks that are, in the group. Bring them in here. I'm gonna start tagging people. But 50 members, Marcos, it's wild. I mean, I remember at one point when I was going into coaching and stuff like that, I was like, man, if I could just coach one person, right? If I could just coach one person, or can I just coach them effectively? Or can I just ask someone, hey, I'm a young 18, 19-year-old kid. I'm really into fitness. I'm really into nutrition. Would you be willing and able to do a workout session for me? I'll pay you. I'll give it to you for free. That's how bad I wanted it. And this person is probably just like, man, I hope this kid doesn't effing hurt me. I remember the first set of people I used to train out of my backyard with my home gym. And it was like my friends, man. And I used to do like CrossFit style workouts. And I had like plyo boxes, barbells, and like the rubber barbells and all that, the bumper plates. And like, I remember going like, oh yeah, everyone should be doing clean and jerks and snatches and, and running sled sprints and doing all these crazy workouts, and then realizing like 10 minutes later in the workout they're dead. And I'm like, I guess if they feel dead, I think it's a good workout, right, Marcos?
um, yeah, like killing people for the sake of killing them because they think that that's supposed to be the most effective workout all the time.
Yeah.
Those were the days. How much we've learned since that initial, like, if we're not pushing hard enough, we're not going to get the result. Only to now realize like it's not. I mean, everybody has a different starting point. If you're getting progressively better, that's progressive overload. Therefore, you are seeing improvement. You're going to see physical changes. And again, the body of now is not the body of yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we're looking to build the body of tomorrow, which has a lot of different, ideas and components to it. And yeah, so I mean, kind of theming this call around the body. Seamus, you mentioned the bees of body composition on last Thursday's call. You dove into basement
Baseline.
quite a bit,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And I think that again, this is probably a good time to kind of segue into another one of those areas of the bees of
Hmm.
body composition. And just for again, like a quick clip notes version of it all. We have five B's, five things that we are going to active, like an active phase that you can likely identify with. And if it's you coming into this community, that is going to be establishing a baseline, right? So baseline in terms of athlete 2.0 is generally going to be done in a nutritional setting. So this is like, hey, here's some parameters. We're going to get consistent again. We're going to log some stuff. We're going to find out what type of logging is going to work best for you. So with that, I like to think of, we got asked this question yesterday. I was doing a podcast with somebody. Like, what do you think baseline is? It's like, I think as I thought about it more, baseline is really a set of, baseline principles of the nutrition component and where
Hmm.
the other variables are things you're adjusting. You're dialing those notches a little bit. So
Yeah.
nutritional baseline really is like, here's your starting prescription, and we're going to see this through for as long as possible as you continue to enter in new variables,
Yeah.
which again, can be movement, recovery, could be exercise, changing of exercise modalities, right? There's so many different things that kind of go on with a baseline phase, and people can really live here and see a massive body composition change.
Yeah.
So that's where I think a lot of the most important things kind of tend to happen. So
Yeah, I think that that call was important, guys. I recap just the top three things I said in that baseline, in a baseline phase, how to maximize your baseline so you can win at your body composition. The three things are going to be one, at least tracking those metrics, right? Where we just talked about, Marcos just talked about your movement, your nutrition, and your recovery, sleep, whatever it is, and then also two, just being patient. I know that when you join a coaching program like ours, and if you haven't gotten on a call with us, you definitely should. There's a bit of patience. I've literally taken people off the street. I've said this multiple times. I've taken people off the street, complete strangers, and I've completely annihilated them in workouts, and they never want to work with me again because they're like, "Well, I want to lose weight." Well, the only way to lose weight is to bring you all the way down to rough amount of calories. You absolutely hate me, and you have to always kill yourself in the gym. That's what I thought it was. I've made the mistake in the book. Patience, and then three, staying accountable. So use this community, guys. There's some of you in here in this group totally free. You don't have to do anything else. 3 calls per week. You can showcase your goals. You can use the trackers, utilize those. But Marcos, I think we should move this topic today to another B that's kind of important for the holidays. And I think we should talk about this topic multiple times, but maybe let's cover like maybe a handful of bullet points, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 bullet points of another B that you feel for body composition should be very important during the time of a holiday season. What do you think that B should be, huh?
what do I think it is? Well, I mean, you just teed it up real nicely. Like here's the tee. You're obviously talking about balance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So while baseline is again everybody's starting point in a spot that even if you have done it before, you want to get back to it. That's your baseline. Like, hey, I this got me results before. It wasn't the end. You're not going to likely start with your end of cut macros or your end of your burn phase macros. You're probably going to like where you got started again. And that's like the benefit of using the spreadsheet is like, oh, this is the numbers I started with. And like it got me feeling pretty dang good. So I should probably go back to that, and readdress a few things and see where I'm at currently.
yeah, yeah.
Uh Normally from there, from the baseline, you go to one of the other three where it's build, balance, or burn. In this case, we are obviously headed into holiday season. Thus, balance makes the most sense. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what does balance mean? Balance means you understand your baseline. Funny
There it
enough,
is.
they're both maintenance phases. They're just, coined to help us understand how to become athlete 2.0, right? So that's the first bullet point is right. You're picking balance. Balance is a maintenance phase or baseline, but it's done in a little bit of a different way, right? We're balancing social events. There's a lot on the social calendar during November, December, right? I don't care
Yeah.
if you're a celebrator of Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Does not matter, right? Likely you're going to be doing some social setting type things, which means that there's probably going to be food because that's
Yeah.
what all of our cultures do is bring food and bring us together. Likely fares that you don't normally eat, but how are you going to work those in? What does that look like? So in the balance phase, for me, cultural cooking gets done. Usually it means busting out the fryer. The one time a year we actually use a real fryer. And I mean, like we ain't skipping, man. It's like we're getting vegetable oil. Like
Oh, yeah. I was about to ask you what
you know,
kind of oil you using, my man.
I don't know the one that probably could power your car. Um,
I could run my
uh,
car on this oil, guys.
yeah. So with that, we're frying arancini, which is a little rice ball that's normally served in the subways or train stations, I guess, in Italy/Sicily. We're frying up what's known as arcapuria. We're frying up some empanadas, which are
Ooh,
we usually call them pastelillos instead because we're Puerto Rican and we like those sort of things.
I love it.
So, of course, I want to work those things in. And this is the food that every year we go back to the holidays with my grandma that I'd get fat. Like I mean, I'd get sloppy. The 7 to 14 pounds that you mentioned on like the last call,
I was smack dab in the middle.
that was me. Except
um,
except it quote it was cute on me because I was a younger kid. You know, they're like, oh, look at
yeah,
this is
you
a
look
chubby little
good.
Hispanic kid. Uh,
I'll tell you
but
right now, my worst holiday season was Thanksgiving. And mind you guys, as an athlete, as a wrestler, your season for wrestling is in the winter. And so the first tournament is the week after the first in-season tournament is the week after Thanksgiving. I'm telling you right now, I've had all summer to lose weight, got my weight down, started doing my water cut. I have 4 Thanksgivings this one Thanksgiving season. 4 Thanksgivings in like 2 days, basically, like lunch, dinner, lunch, dinner. Monday comes around, my coach goes, all right, everybody step on the scale. The moment of truth. I'm in the 160 category, guys. I have to make 160. No over, no under. They used to have like a 1 or 2 pound allowance. So he looks at me, he's like, Monday, I'm 172. It's like, what did you do? You gained 12 pounds
Jesus.
over the weekend. And I'm like, coach, what do I do? And he's like, put on double the sweats, double the bags, and start wrestling your head off. You're not eating nothing for the next like 3 days. I lose like 8 of it that day. But then I have to struggle to like get the less of the water weight. But guys, that's 7 to 14 pounds. Some of y'all are gonna pack that on more than I would, and you're gonna keep it on. So yeah, you gotta get ready, right, Marcos?
Well, no, this is not going to happen to people that are here because we're
Mhm.
being proactive. That is not us, right?
That's not
We're
us. Yeah.
avoiding that. But okay, fast forward to 30-year-old Marcos versus 14-year-old Marcos. I still remember to this day, man. Go to grandma's house. Marcos, do you want some food? No, grandma, I'm good. No, 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 I insist. Insist. Yeah, I'm gonna make you something. Are you hungry? I'm like, no, I really. Say, I make it anyway. Okay, 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 grandma. She's like, I was like, you want some rice and beans? You want some batatas? You want some of this? I'm like, grandma, like seriously, like please, like I can't. You can't say no to grandma's cooking. Like, I mean, so all those things are happening, and I'm like loading it on, and it's cold. It's Ohio, right? It's a little bit cold that time of year, and in my head, what I know now was the one thing that could have been the easiest thing to do in that, again, going back to a balance phase, was figure out how to get outdoors and just walk. It wasn't that cold. There might have been some snow, but just going for a walk, finding a way. Like in my head at that age, like the only way to get results that are going to be like, I'm going to look like, well, back then it may have been like Schwarzenegger, Jay Cutler,
Mhm.
whatever. But the current, how do I get to like Bumstead level of the current days, right? Was like you got to train every day, and every time I was there was no weight training to be seen, and I was so worried about it, and I couldn't just enjoy and create some sort of balance.
It's the
Hence
worst.
why we coined this term, because everybody's going to get into a phase at some point in time where they're looking for some family lifestyle balance, and this is a phase that a lot of the clients that we work with now constantly get challenged with. Or they're like, hey, I'm getting ready for X thing,
Yeah.
right? They sign up, they're like, I'm getting ready for this. And we're like, cool, so what are we doing during that? Like, you have something that's gonna like kind of keep you accountable, right? They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, no, I'm just getting ready for the event. I can give a shit. Like I can care less. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not the case. Like, we want to instill some things that you can keep doing during that phase. Point in case, one of the clients got married last Friday for me. And I'm like, awesome, right? And he was like, it was a push phase. It's like, I'm enjoying this weekend. And then I got
Uh-huh.
another push phase because I'm going on my honeymoon in 3 weeks from
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
right? So it's always future planning what's going on, but the balance is occurring here. So he's hedging his bet. Like his balance phase is a slight burn into a stretch of time where he knows that things can't be as good as they could be, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that all I needed to do is likely just pick up my movement, because after grandma made her food and the Christmas cookies were there and I felt like a bloated mess, I didn't go for a walk. So that's like the number
Mm.
one thing, is just like picking up the movement during a balance phase. Because again, if you look down, now that we have our phones that tell us everything that's going on, chances are you're not getting as much activity as you normally do, but you could,
Mm.
and it's an easy thing to try to get to.
Yeah, so that's number one, guys. I think I love what Marcos is saying there. Number one, just get more movement in. We didn't say most intense workouts. You don't need to be doing balls to the wall, CrossFit style workout. Hey, just go get some movement in around the time that you are enjoying yourself with your family in a balanced space. I think that's a great one, Marco. It's like, I think a walk is a good one, especially after all that eating. You get the itis, that sleep itis, where you feel like after that turkey and all that stuff, you just want to pass out, or
Yeah.
whatever cultural foods you have. But I think a walk afterwards is good. I mean, you're not necessarily burning off everything, but it's just a great way to get after activity. You're not necessarily increasing your blood sugar. You're not increasing your insulin. You're stabilizing those with that walk. And like Marco said, you can see it in real time. So tip number one, guys, during a balance phase, just increase your movement, and you can increase that by just doing a simple walk, and especially a simple walk after a meal, so you can stabilize more so of your hormones. So I think that's a good one. What do you think is a good number two, Marcos? A number two. I mean, we're enjoying food, but are there any food tactics, strategies that you've started to learn in your last 30 years? Just being more mindful of your nutrition on these holiday times.
Well, I mean, ideally, yeah, you're getting a workout in, but again, being in, you know, middle of nowhere, Ohio, effectively sometimes, right? The YMCA was closed,
Oh, yeah,
So yeah, like if you get a workout in, great, right? Like I know a lot of things are open. If you go to a CrossFit gym, that might be a little bit harder because they have different hours during that time of year,
yeah,
right? But maybe you have some stuff that you could do that's a body weight related thing in the beginning of the day. Um, I think a lot of people might be able to fill up a backpack and go for a ruck. So there's like a way to get some sort of workout incorporated to start off like that actual holiday itself, right? Where things are
yeah.
a little bit more downplayed, right? The next thing would be um, front load your day with lean protein sources.
Ooh, that's a
That's
good
tip
one.
two.
Tell
Because,
them why. Why is this? Why is this?
well, think of the foods that you're likely going to see on the plate. Let's just use Thanksgiving as the example, right? Like the leanest meat there is turkey. It's generally pretty dry. Like, you show me a person that can really like cook the cook the head off of a turkey, I'll be like, I'll say that person's a shaman.
I heard I think one of our performance health coaches, Josh, one of our buddies, one of the few coworkers who said, he said something along the lines of like, show me a person, if they're craving someone, show me a person willing to eat a dry chicken breast or a dry turkey breast, and then tell me if they're having cravings. If they're willing to eat that, but if they
Yeah.
say no, then it's not a craving, or like it's not that they're truly hungry, they're just craving something. It was like something along those lines of like, if you can eat a piece of dried chicken breast or turkey breast, like, then you are hungry. If not, you're just craving, you're bored.
Yeah. So it's like loading it up with some leaner ones that help you substantiate maybe half of your protein goal for the day. There's still likely going to be protein there, but we know it's going to come with probably a higher fat content than normal. So that those meals in the beginning of the day may not be as sexy, and that's okay. They're meant to be a little bit more bland and kind of hitting your goal. I feel like your like your shakes, could work too, but I'd probably say try to steer more whole food related.
Yeah.
So that and vegetables, right? That and things that add volume but not a ton of like calories, so that you can get into that actual event of the day and go for the foods you actually want and think about
Yeah.
what you actually want. There's a lot of it's a hodgepodge at Thanksgiving, right? And sometimes I have to remember it's an American holiday, right? Like,
Yeah, so just mind you guys, even though I have this pale complexion, for those in the group, I'm Filipino, so like my Thanksgiving is like, I'm just gonna name some Filipino, like you got Turon, Dinuguan, you got the sisig, you got like all that, and it's like, oh wait, normal Thanksgiving is like you got the yams and the sweet potato, and then you got the mashed potatoes, and then you got the turkey cranberry sauce, and you got the gravy, the
right.
green beans and the crunchies on top. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a hodgepodge of things, but I like what you're saying though. I was just thinking in my head of how many times I've worked with clients, and I think this is wrong, or not wrong, but I don't think you want to hedge your bet on this. Is not eating anything, thinking you're saving yourself up for the whole day to the end. Here's a reason why. I've done this myself, but I've seen this time and time again with clients. The clients that don't eat anything tend to overdo that Thanksgiving dinner. Let's just say it's a dinner. They overdo it way more. However, what Marcos is saying is if you protein leverage and you leverage some low calorie veggies and fruits, or more like veggies, so it's low calorie, what I've tend to notice is even though they're not necessarily, these folks are not necessarily trying to stop themselves from enjoying that evening, they notice that they've had enough food for the day and they actually have some willpower when it comes to that meal. They don't overdo it. They don't go over the precipice of that mountain and just fall off the slope, right, Marco? So I love what you said there,
Yeah.
leveraging that protein and leveraging some higher quality foods that are lower quality. And I think a
Yeah.
hodgepodge of foods is definitely a big thing, you're gonna get at the end of the day.
And I think the thing that trumped it all though in the beginning is like you're not tracking on this day. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
leveraging. You're like, if you're still hungry at breakfast, well, go eat until your heart's content with regards to like the vegetable or the berry content. It's going to be really hard. Like the day as a whole is supposed to flow so you get the most out of it, but you're not like overdoing it. So you're kind of leading into that. And like what Seamus is saying is like, if you do wait to just have that meal, chances are, it's like, I got, because at least this has been me. It's like I got 3,000 calories to go because I've eaten nothing. So it's like dinner roll, gravy, mashed potatoes inside of the roll, stuff it there, two slices of cake, like or pie. It's like or everyone. I got to sample every one of them, and by sample I mean eat a quarter personally because this is the only day I'm getting this right.
Pecan pie, key lime pie, pumpkin, whatever pie there is.
I don't think we've made a key lime pie during this. Maybe apple, some sort of
Oh
caramelized.
yeah, apple for
Yeah,
sure, for sure.
yeah. So, but nonetheless, like that. That's where again, if you do that through the day, you get to dinner, you have a normal hunger response. You're eating the stuff you really want, and I'm actually really picky about like meals these days when I get into the holiday thing because there are things that I truly enjoy. Some of the stuff I hated as a kid. My mom makes this like cranberry salsa kind of thing. I don't even know what to really call it, but it kind of looks like a salsa, but it's like a cranberry sauce. But it's not like the normal cranberry sauce.
I
It's
know
like
what you
really
mean.
fresh. And it is like heaven to me these days. As a kid, I was like, oh, like get this away from me. And it's like it literally is like probably one of the healthier things there. Granted, there's like a little bit of like orange juice and maybe like a little. I think she adds a little bit of sugar to it. I
Yeah.
mean, most of it's like a cranberry fruit salad essentially, but it like goes so well on everything. And I really look forward to that. And she was like, I'm not gonna make that this year. Last year, I'm like, no, mom, you have to make it. Like that is like something like I don't know why, but like that is now like tradition to me. I love that one. And she's like, well, what about turkey? I was like, you could literally scratch turkey and it'd be okay. And like,
I'm good. I'm
I was
good. My
like,
mom really need that.
I was like, give me the honey baked ham any day of the week. I actually talked to another client today, like, yeah, I'm making brisket for Thanksgiving. I was like, that's
Ooh,
that's cool. And I now learned that that's more of like a Jewish tradition because they can't have pork, which makes sense. So like brisket, I was like, probably gonna steal that. Brisket
I'm gonna
and
steal
honey
that.
baked ham would probably be a far better use of that like holiday
Yeah, that
meal.
use of that. I like that. My mom, she makes a five mac and cheese and a spaghetti carbonara. I freaking love it. This is like the only, I'll be honest, this is the only time I have like those types of carbs, like the pasta types of carbs in abundance is that day. She loves it. Um, and like this five mac and cheese, it has like multiple cheeses, but there's like a blue cheese in there that she uses every time. It's so good. And then like she sprinkles in some like bacon bits in there, and I'm like, oh, it's heaven. And the meats that we usually do, I mean, we'll do, I don't know if we do like, I think we'll always do like a ham. She'll always get like that honey baked ham. Um, but we like more like steak, like tri-tip. My brother always cooks it, like he's been cooking tri-tip since like high school pretty much because he can't he's sort of like you, Marcos. He's like a pseudo like chef, and he just like played with tri-tip and he became like so
Pseudo?
enamored with it.
You calling me a pseudo chef, Seamus? I
No,
mean,
you're like a Michelin star like three. You're like a three-star, bro. You're a chef.
I'm like the least creative Michelin star chef that you'll ever get. No, I'm just kidding. Um, no, but I mean, so that's where I think like actually thinking about the items that you actually look forward to, and they change over the years. You
Yeah.
might sample a little bit, but I know I'm getting like less and less of some things that are not serving me, and then really making room for the stuff that like actually fits the bill of that day, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's a balance phase because like the rest of the day leading up to it, has some kind of general flow that we talk about with a lot of our clients every time. What do I need to do? What am I like? The most commonly asked question is, how am I handling this holiday? And it's literally that exact breakdown.
Go, yeah.
You're gonna have a leaner breakfast. It's gonna kind of look like this, right? You're gonna have a light lunch. It's gonna probably be, we're gonna get some fibrous vegetables in there. You're gonna feel pretty full. You're gonna be good. You're eating at, probably, I don't know, 2 p.m. because we do that on Thanksgiving and that's dinner. Um,
It just goes on. It just goes on.
and to me, it's like, uh definitely want, like, again, I want the rolls because that's where I make room for that. I usually like a little bit of mashed potatoes these days, not as much as I used to as a kid. A
Yeah.
little, touch of gravy, whatever it is. And then I really want the pies, and I want a good helping of that. So I'm getting most of my calories from the sweets because that's where I think that, like, why I would want Thanksgiving to happen, right? And then we're good. Christmas is a little different. That's where we have a little bit more of the other traditional stuff there, and that's a whole different story.
So we're definitely gonna get there.
Yeah.
I want to end it off with tip number 3, and I'll take this one because you killed it on those top 2 guys. Just a reminder: 1, get a little bit more movement in, whether if you can get a workout in or definitely a walk around in or after those meals. 2, hedge your bet with some protein in the morning and some voluminous vegetables, and then just kind of just manage your hunger cues until then. But I'm gonna give number 3, and I think this is one's gonna come out of left field, and it's not even gonna have to do with anything. But I tell this to all my clients. And I think Marcos does too. And I think we both live this value in a balance phase. But in a balance phase in the holidays, I think you should just enjoy it. Okay. That's tip number 3. The biggest thing I think a lot of folks that I've worked with, especially if they've been struggling with their weight, if you feel like you've been struggling with your weight, or if you feel like the holidays are a time that you do struggle with and you feel like it's something that stresses you out. Look, it's already stressful. You got family coming in from both sides of the family, or other family coming in, or you might be going somewhere. It's already stressful to travel. You've got to do the cooking. They've got to bring the cooking. Who brought the food? Who forgot the food? Did you forget the gifts? I don't know. Where's the kid at? Where they at? They forget them. Home Alone 1 and 2. I think the biggest thing is you've got to just enjoy it, because if you're in a body composition goal, whether you're burning or building, if that's constantly on top of mind for you, especially in a moment where you're trying to be present with your kids or present with your family, as your coach, I would hate that. I would literally hate that for you to be that person that's like, oh, my coach wouldn't want me to do this, or I'm supposed to be eating this way, not that way. What are you talking about? This is a holiday. You've earned it. You've worked in multitude of ways to get things done. You've done a baseline. You've probably done like a burn phase or build or something. This is a time to build balance and just enjoy. Be in the present moment and enjoy that time with your family. If you're being neurotic and getting a little bit orthorexic about, like, I need to count my calories today and I need to be on point, I don't know if this is going to be a sustainable plan. What are your thoughts, Marcos?
It's definitely not going to be something sustainable, and that's why you have to understand what your goals are. And that's why everyone here is more in the athlete guys. Like, I mean, we're talking like physical performance athlete. We're trying to
Yeah.
physically perform and look good. We're not like a bodybuilding athlete. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like we don't. I don't personally define athlete as like something that gets like on a stage that gets judged like a piece of meat. That's just me. There has to be some sort of like physical endeavor that's related to it.
Yeah.
Not taking away from like the conditioning and the stuff they go through to get to their bodies where it's supposed to be. Olympia just happened last weekend. Like, I'm still like in awe of like how people can transform themselves like that. But you tell them to go run or do something, you know what I mean? Like,
Athletic.
that's not really it. Whereas most of us here, we want to be able to do that. Um, so I mean, in that mindset and in the pursuit of looking good, performing well, balance really is something that you have to, again, take the time and try to enjoy it. Like Seamus said, that's why, again, like I said, like, we had 1, 2, and 3, but the thing that started all was like, you're not tracking on this day. This day is the day that you're supposed to enjoy. And if you start by tracking with some sort of capacity after all these years, that's again going to lead to potential orthorexic relationships. We don't want that. All right. I've been there, right? Like, I know Seamus has been there.
Oh, I've been there.
Like, it's like I have to, like, I can, so I should. It's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? And like take it from us that like the more stress you're putting upon these days to potentially be perfect, the less likely you are to continue to want to do those things long term. So, we're just giving you our anecdotal experience. It's usually where the best coaches can like give you their honest feedback because they're living it, experience it, and what's worked well for their clients. Um, Clients that have started with me in the holiday season have been the most successful, and they've taken off all the days that are the big holiday movers, right? You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, right? We're talking 5 days in the stretch of 2 months, right? We're not talking like, hey, this day then led me into a week of not giving a shit,
Yeah,
right?
there's a
And
difference. There's a difference.
and even as we're building this, we're still going to show up to the calls on those days leading up to it. I don't know if Christmas or Christmas Eve falls on that day. Doesn't matter to us. We're probably not doing shit on that day anyways, except for spending some time
I'd
with
love to
family.
hang. I love this community. This is our community of folks, right, Marcos? We got to show
Yeah.
up for these guys. These are our people. So I'm not opposed to giving 30 minutes to an hour of my time hanging out with the coolest folks around the block.
Yeah, hell, I mean, for everybody that is in Vegas on like Thanksgiving Day or Black Friday and gyms are closed, I'll probably open up my parents' garage and say, "Hey, y'all want to come do a workout with me?" You know what I mean? And like Mikasa is Sukasa, and
There it is.
really
That
truly build something like like an in-person version of the community.
yeah.
Uh, because I know it's always bothered me that like it's harder to get a good workout in on those days. So
You got your turkey burn, your turkey trots, your 5Ks like the day after, and all
oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go eat 4,000 calories and then just kind of go waddle it off.
I feel like
Or,
I've done one of those before, and I was like, yeah, it's not really the best. Even though it's like a 5K, it's 3 miles. It's the worst 3 miles I've ever ran. Like it's probably like horrible for my joints. I'm like running. Hey guys, I hope you enjoy this call. More of an educational, the bees of body composition. We're gonna be talking about this kind of on a weekly basis and a continuous basis, but the three things today: get some movement in, day of, whether it's working out, moving. Two, manage your food, protein, leverage a little bit of voluminous food and low calories. Three, just enjoy that process. But Marcos, what should some of these guys be doing as they come into the group? We're 50 strong right now. We've got some people watching this live Zoom. They're gonna watch the replay. What should some of these folks be doing as they come into the group? What should be some next steps for them?
I think first step is introduce yourself. One, who are you? What do you like to do? Some of your favorite foods, things you are looking to gain out of this, whatever it is. Make it whimsical, make it fun. That's number one. Number two would be asking questions related to how to get started. It's just joining doesn't mean you're starting. It just means you might be a casual observer, and we want to get you started with something, right? We don't want just education. We want application.
Mm.
So again, that interaction, we know it takes time to warm up to things, and it's going to be kind of we're swinging with blindfolds on right now until things start to actually like make a little more sense. So obviously, if you watch this replay and you laugh a little bit, we're trying to put some personality behind things. So the more interaction, the more personality, the better it becomes. Um, and I think lastly, as you start to grow within the community, bring other people in with you. This is a community of the people, by the people, for the people, right? Like we're, we are of the we are the people. We started it. This was like a year ago, basically to the day was when we were sitting down or on a video call like this, Seamus and I talking about we should just start talking about things related to like podcast and education, and then it's turned into this now. And so the only way for all of us to continue to make a difference and get through whatever that personal struggle may be, it's far easier with other people, right? I know that with my training partners on a daily basis, this morning I did not want to go, but because I can't let them down because they are my tribe and community, we all hold each other accountable. I don't want to miss a day with them, not from a physical performance standpoint, from a camaraderie perspective, right? So that's what this is supposed to be, and what I would really strive to get all of us to get out of it. So those are
Yeah.
the three things: introduce yourself, actually get started, bring someone else in with you, and have them do it with you.
Oh man, wow, how strong. Guys, the community is getting bigger by the day. You do not want to miss out. I'm telling you. I mean, Marcos and I can, make each other laugh all day, do podcasts and do all these things. We love this stuff. But if you are not taking action on the three things Marcos just said, introduce yourself, get started, and bring a friend in, man, what are the opportunities you might be missing out on? What are the goals and things you might be missing out on for your health, your wellness, your body composition, whatever it is? You heard the man. Do it. Let's make it happen. Marcos, let's sign off. Man, what a great call today.
Yeah, that is it. Thank you all for listening. And until next time, I don't know how to end this, Seamus. How do we like exit without? Oh, there it is. Stop the lash. Found the button. There you go. Little MVP. Have a good night.